What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be talking about a DC Comics book for the first time in a while, and feels weird. That's right, we're going to be talking about Dark Knight's Death Metal #1 by Scott Hallowed Be Thy Name Snyder and Greg Painkiller Capullo. And in this video, we're gonna kind of play a little catch up on some of the things that have happened recently in the DC Comics universe. Just kind of a quick gloss over. And we're also going to reveal what the hell is going on in this comic. Anyways, we're gonna talk about all that and more right now. But first, wash your damn hands. And let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Before we get started, if you want to see more awesome comic book videos like this one, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click.
Okay, so we're gonna start this off the only way that I know how, and I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. Had to have notes. You see, all of this kind of kicked off with, of course, Dark Knight's Metal, which came out a couple of years ago. But this has kind of spun out into even more Scott Snyder shenanigans. Even more so than what you're probably imagining right off the rip. That's right, this actually comes in the wake of the fallout of the Batman Who Laughs miniseries that came out throughout last year and the year before, 2018 and 2019, where we saw the Batman Who Laughs. He basically came up with this long, convoluted plan to basically gather the materials necessary to infect the DC Comics universe and kind of create his own Justice League. A Justice League that ultimately wound up spinning into the pages of Batman Superman issues #1 through 6. And in that, we technically saw the Batman Who Laughs infect Shazam. He infected Blue Beetle. He infected Jim Gordon, Donna Troy, Supergirl, Hawkman. He's got his own team now, his own twisted version of the Justice League. And he basically used this group and all the chicanery that, surrounds them to kind of trick Batman and Superman into not really paying attention to what his right hand was doing while his left hand was off doing some shit. And basically what that was getting them so focused on a satellite that he was trying to bring down, something that comes from his reality, his own little satellite home base from his reality. Batman and Superman got so focused on that, they didn't realize this sick, twisted version of the Justice League had run back to the Hall of Justice and released the Batman Who Laughs from the hidden prison within. And this kind of exposed Batman and Superman for keeping secrets, for hiding things from people, not telling people the entire truth. And we remember, not telling people the entire truth or anything at all is technically how Dark Knight's Metal started. Batman himself knew what was going on. He knew what was coming in the form of Barbatos and all this other stuff, the evil Batman, the Dark Knights of the Dark Multiverse, the Nightmare Batman, whatever you want to call them. He knew that shit was coming and he didn't say anything. And now it's perpetuating itself, now not just being Batman, but also Superman. And yes, I know what I did there with Perpetua, because we can't forget about her either. Lex Luthor had freed Perpetua from that little doorknob that turned out to be a lot more than a doorknob. Perpetua has basically been unleashed, and not only has she been unleashed, but Lex Luthor had been upjumped to this new Apex Lex version of himself, basically absorbing Martian Manhunter and creating himself a new Martian body, and just, it gets weird. But long story short, the Batman Who Laughs and Lex Luthor told each other long ago in the pages of Scott Snyder's earlier parts of the Justice League run that Perpetua is someone he doesn't want to mess with. He told Lex Luthor about Perpetua and kind of got him on the trail of it, and the Joker had warned him that at some point, the Batman Who Laughs is going to turn on you. Everything that he is trying to teach you and tell you, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass, and guess what? When you know who won the pony, it did, because the Batman Who Laughs used his chess moves, basically, and we always joked about it in the Batman Who Laughs miniseries that, Batman's thinking 50 chess moves ahead. Yeah, that's cool and all, but the Batman Who Laughs is thinking 50 chess games ahead. And that's exactly what happened. He revealed that he had led Lex Luthor on this whole goose chase just so he could get close enough to Perpetua and prove that he could offer her the thing that Lex couldn't. The fact that he comes from another side of reality that Perpetua doesn't understand, nor can she see or know anything about. and he has knowledge that she can use to stop the Justice League, who had originally been thought destroyed by Lex Luthor. Come to find out, they're actually just regrouping. And the Batman Who Laughs knows this. He knows exactly how they're going to do it, and he knows exactly how Perpetua can stop them. And this is kind of how we get to all this mess in Dark Knight's death metal. And even then, we don't really know everything right now, because, you know, it's one of those things. These things unfold slowly. But one of the things I can definitely tell you is that this story does take place in the actual DC Comics universe. The DCU is exactly where all this is happening. This isn't some alternate Earth. This isn't some alternate reality. Yes, we do know that Perpetua has destroyed multiple other universes. She did so in the pages of the Justice League comic before Scott Snyder's run ended. She'd already destroyed at least one universe, and now it turns out she's destroyed even more. That's right, as of right now, out of 52 universes, only 8 remain, and this is one of them. And the Batman Who Laughs has pretty much taken them all over. And not only that, he has replaced many of the DC Comics universe heroes with twisted Batman versions of each of them. Throughout this comic, we see weird sorcerer Batman, we see weird Etrigan the Demon looking Batman, we see a Deathstroke looking Batman, we see a Clayface Batman, and a Plastic Man version of Batman. We see all of these different versions of Batman. We even see a T-Rex version of Batman, who apparently was a Bruce Wayne from another part of the Dark Multiverse, who was dying and literally uploaded his consciousness into the robot T-Rex in the Batcave. Yes, that's a thing. Not only that, but we know this is also a world divided. This is a world where at the center of it is Castle Bat. It is the giant city, the living Gotham City that is a Batman who basically became Gotham itself. Kind of like how we talked about in the Blerd Cave, weeks ago about, this is a very, if you're familiar with Doom Patrol, this is a very Danny the Street type of deal. Only instead of it just being a street, it's an entire freaking city, an entire Gotham City that is basically Bruce Wayne. And that is the seat of the Batman Who Laughs power, while also we have Megalopolis, and I think you can kind of figure out what's over there. It's even spelled the same as Apocalypse. Pretty sure there's a evil Batman version of Darkseid over there somewhere. Also, we have the Arkham Wasteland, and within that area, another place called the Fall of Captain Atom. So that's pretty much letting us know Captain Atom, as per usual, is not going to be around. And we also know that Themyscira has literally been turned into hell itself. And this story, I'm going to tell you right now, this is not, for all the trappings and everything of this is not a Batman-centric story. This is actually more of a Wonder Woman story, more than anything else. It just so happens that the Batman Who Laughs is the villain, and he has lots of, Batman-esque creatures and people and whatnot around him. But at this particular moment in time, Wonder Woman kind of seems to have resigned herself to the way of things, the new world, so to speak. Even, enlisting the help of Swamp Thing, who looks like he's seen better days. I don't know if this is something that has come over from the Justice League Dark comic where, he is present. I don't know. I haven't been reading it because honestly, it just did not hold my interest. When I first started reading, it just couldn't hold my attention and I let it go. We see that Diana is working on something. Basically what she's doing is she is breaking down the invisible jet using this interesting little chainsaw futuristic deal. It's very, very death metal of her, I would dare say. But yes, it seems like here in hell is where they are keeping all the prisoners, all the villains, and maybe even some heroes. I don't know, I mostly see villains, but we see people like Mr. Zsasz, we see people like Captain Cold, we see the Joker, so on and so forth. Characters were basically being held until the Batman Who Laughs has something he wants to do with them. And we also know that all of the other Amazons have essentially been crucified to all of those different antennas that we used to see, the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor use in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Apparently, they are strung up to those things. So if you're wondering where all the other Amazons are, well, now you know. But at the end of it all, a prisoner has been captured. A prisoner who the Batman Who Laughs doesn't want put in the prison cells with the other prisoners. He wants this person put somewhere special. He wants this person put in the pits. The pits are a place where only particular people are locked away. People that the Batman Who Laughs has a very particular eye on, and Diana is very curious to know who it is. However, the sorcerer Batman, Batmage, or whatever he's called, he doesn't want Diana speaking with the prisoner, and she recognizes who it is immediately, though we're not told until a little later in the issue. That said, the Batman Who Laughs, he's gathered his armies. He has various and sundry people working for him. He has Aquaman, he has Harley Quinn, he has Dr. Arkham, he has Mr. Miracle. He also even has Darkseid working for him, which is basically a Darkseid version of Batman. And right now, other than the new prisoner, the only other person that they're really interested in right now is Superman, who apparently has finally succumbed to the anti-life. And of course, for those of you, if you're not familiar with what anti-life is, it's a thing that's been around for quite some time in the DC Comics universe, since the early 70s, but if you want to know what it is essentially a mathematical formula. Basically allows the wielder of it to have control over really any type of sentient race. We know that something messed up has happened because as Diana is kind of slowly remembering and kind of reminiscing with a Batman who has recently resurfaced, using a psychic link with Diana, which I'm not even gonna go into the logistics of that, but just know that it's something that I vaguely remember them setting up in Scott Snyder's Justice League run. That's all I'm gonna say there. However, while they're talking, Diana is remembering everything that happened, and we know for one way or another, something messed up happened. And the Batman Who Laughs, he quickly figures out that something is up because once again, as he told us in Dark Knight's Metal, as he told us in Bats Out of Hell, as he has told Diana on every occasion that he has ever spoken with her, he knows her better than any other Batman in all of the multiverse, dark or otherwise. They've been friends, they've been confidants, they've been lovers, they've been parents. He knows her better than maybe even she knows herself. And he can tell when she's lying. But before the Batman Who Laughs can do anything about it, the actual Batman shows up. And this is a Batman who is basically letting the world know that he's not playing by the same rules anymore. He's not playing by Gotham rules. He's now playing by a whole new entire set. And no matter what the Batman Who Laughs thinks that he could throw at him, he's seen just about everything he has to offer and he knows exactly how to face him off. And to prove a point that Batman is not playing around, Batman reveals that yeah, the Batman Who Laughs has his own army, but Batman has one of his own. A dead army. The Dead Bats, a story that kind of came off as kind of anecdotal, just something that was thrown in there just to kind of pad out pages, is actually not the case. Batman was actually trying to tell us something that was a little bit of a taste of things to come. You see, he needs that crown that is on the Batman Who Laughs head, and he plans to take it using a Black Lantern ring to rise up an undead army. His dead bats, so to speak. Not only an undead army, but an undead army that is going to be led by Jonah Hex while Batman goes after the real threat. And of course, there are other things that are coming to light as well. We know that Lobo is on the planet Ossex trying to retrieve some kind of an artifact. And we also know that Diana has gone to visit the prisoner, and the new prisoner happens to be none other than Wally West. Wally West now consumed with the power of Dr. Manhattan. Which, that's a whole other can of worms. I'm not gonna go into it here. Just know that the Flash Forward miniseries, I think it's like 6 issues, pretty decent read, and it will explain everything you need to know about that. However, just know that Wally West now has pretty much the power of Dr. Manhattan. Go figure. And right now, he kind of seems to be consumed with a lot of the same problems that Dr. Manhattan was. And right now, he knows that of all the things going on right now, he knows that there are certain things that have to happen, certain things that are going to come into play that are basically going to determine the outcome of all of this. And basically what's going on here is he's kind of giving us a recap of all the things that have happened throughout the DC Comics universe, but just in a very condensed 2-page spread. Like, we're basically getting a rundown of everything that's gone on since, you know, the original Crisis on Infinite Earths to Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, 0 Hour, all of that stuff. Even leading up to Dark Knight's Metal. The only problem is that the Batman Who Laughs was already a step ahead. He knows exactly what it is they were about to do, and he is already waiting on them in the pits. We know that Diana must be some major portion of the Batman Who Laughs plan, because otherwise he probably just would have killed her. I mean, he's had no issue with fighting her in the past or attacking her outright in some cases. We remember in, I believe it was Dark Knight's Metal number 4 or 5, he literally shot her point blank in the forehead. Granted, he knew it wouldn't kill her, but he knew it would daze her. And right here, he has her pretty much dead to rights. If he really wanted to, he could do whatever he wants. He knows that Wally can't do anything, not in his current state at the moment. And we know just based on how he's talking to her that maybe he needs her a lot more then she maybe needs him. I mean, he's trying to bargain with her and reason with her. The only problem is that he is, in fact, the one that didn't plan for something. Because see, the thing that he was expecting her to do, to come down to the pit, to come back to Themyscira and use the invisible jet to forge some new mighty weapon or defensive armament that would help her defeat him, that's actually not exactly what she was doing. At least that's not why she came back. You see, she already made the thing that she needed to stop him, and she's already prepared to use it, and it's exactly a very Wonder Woman item. It is an invisible chainsaw, and she literally rips the Batman Who Laughs almost in half. I mean, we don't really, it looks almost like it's in half. It's hard to say, but she at least got his arm. The thing is that, of course, the Batman Who Laughs has plans within plans within plans inside of other plans, wrapped inside more plans, and it just so happens that the Batmage, who was by his side earlier, he has unleashed something that is going to probably turn things around in the Batman Who Laughs' favor. And if the Batman Who Laughs is truly maimed, hurt, or dead, it seems like some kind of a dead man protocol that's being enacted here, but we see a symbol that looks eerily like the Watchman symbol. Only instead of a smiley face, it's a frown. And it seems that the Batman Who Laughs has created something, or has had something lying in wait, and this is just yet another usage and tease of more things to come from the Watchmen universe, yet again in DC Comics, because what he has created is the final Bruce Wayne. A Bruce Wayne, a body of Bruce Wayne, who very clearly has Dr. Manhattan's little symbol squarely on his forehead. This book is, I gotta admit, this book is kind of slowly winning me back to DC. I kind of took a breather from DC for a minute because I just felt like, man, they were spinning their wheels, something serious. The Justice League book was really good. Flash Forward was good, but it's just, there was little else going on. And I just got to a point where I was like, man, honestly, if it ain't Far Sector, I don't want it. And I don't know, it just is one of those things where I kind of feel like I don't really enjoy DC Comics as much as I used to. I've become much more of a Marvel guy, and I was already an Image guy, and I was already even more of an Image guy than I was of the other two, but Image has clearly taken front and center for me in the last few years, and DC just kind of dropped straight to the bottom. I just can't get excited about DC Comics books, but this is one that, and I feel like they do this every time, but this is the one DC comic. Dark Knight's Metal was the one that brought me back to DC, and lo and behold, Dark Knight's Death Metal, the sequel to Dark Knight's Metal, is doing the same thing. There's a lot of interesting stuff here. I mean, there's some really cool things that pop up. I mean, heck, there's even some deep cuts in there too. Like, what was it? There's a whole deal with Sergeant Rock at the beginning and end of this book, which, you know, for some that, you know, they probably even know who the hell he is, but you know, this is a character that's been around since like 1959. And yeah, there's some really cool things in there. I don't really know what the significance of Sergeant Rock is going to be, if there even is going to be any significance. If you kind of go back to Dark Knight's Metal, there were lots of characters who popped up for, you know, a second or two, maybe a few panels, maybe even a couple of issues that didn't even amount to anything. They were mostly just there just to say, hey, I'm a thing, I'm over here. But anyways, let me know what you think about the sequel to Dark Knight's Metal, Dark Knight's Death Metal #1. Wash your damn hands and sound off in the comments. So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in a buck, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus Ultra!